Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Money Vikings. Money Viking G here, and I hope you're having yourself a good one as we wrap up summer. And I got a good one for you today, some breaking news. And basically, we don't give investment advice or financial advice to anyone. But if I was to do a public service announcement to myself, this is about as critical as it would get, because I think that it's absolutely crunch time for Bitcoin and for crypto, specifically Bitcoin. I'm very much more focused on Bitcoin than anything else. And I'm going to go into why. But the big news, it's really strange in the crypto and the Bitcoin space over the last sort of 6 months, because it seems like every week there's been another bit of good news for that, for Bitcoin as an asset class. And mainly on the federal government level, but also on the state level. So on the federal government level, it was just announced yesterday that crypto and Bitcoin can be part of 401k plans. I'm not sure people are understanding how huge this is. That means that people can diversify their portfolios and their assets and their 401ks into Bitcoin. And what ends up happening is, I believe this creates kind of a feedback loop. It ends up sort of, feeding itself, because all of a sudden you'll have millions and millions, if not eventually billions of people putting money monthly into their 401k plan automatically, which is the most powerful force in nature, is when things are automated. We've talked a lot about that at Money Vikings over the years. A key to building wealth is automating your wealth building. A lot of that has to do with our monkey brains. We get in our own way all the time. We get in our own way in terms of just, sabotaging ourselves, not looking at the medium or the long run at all. We get very focused on the moment. We minimize expenses in our minds that we really should take seriously. And we basically pay all of our bills and our credit cards and everything else first. And then if there's a little left over, which there isn't, we'll put that into savings. And then we'll just put it into savings where it's getting 0.1% interest, which is basically means you're losing money every year. So automation is critical. And my point here is that making it that crypto and Bitcoin in particular can be part of a 401k, that means you're going to automate millions and millions of weekly dollars, probably hundreds of millions of dollars, into acquiring Bitcoin, which again is going to drive up the demand. And as we know, the supply is very low. So let me get into it. I think this is truly an inflection point for Bitcoin. Now, would it have been better to buy it at under 100,000? Sure, it would. But buying it now, even at 114, 115, whatever, 120, it still, to me, seems like a very sound place to park money over the medium and long run. And, time will tell. But again, I do subscribe to what Saylor says. I think that if you're looking at a healthy 30% return each year, then I think that's probably what we're looking at, which to me is a very nice return, and it's a very nice extra savings and investing account. So Bitcoin, let's go through the ways. This is why it's crunch time. So there's obviously all this big news that continues to come out, and there will be more. There'll be more that comes because more is coming, and many people in positions of power are working on this. And they're going to make the United States the crypto capital of the world, basically. But, you have to realize the power of Bitcoin, and I'm going to go through the top 7 reasons why it's so powerful. The number one reason, as many of you know that watch the channel, and I won't go into a lot of detail on it because is scarcity. Will only ever be 21 million made. That's, going to be another 100 years before there's 21 million. But there are only, 19.5 million available, 7 million have been lost. A bunch have been scooped up by the whales. So, the rest of the world is really just talking about maybe 7-8 million Bitcoin, if you think about it, if you really did the math. And those can be broken up into Satoshis. So that's why they say if you can't own a whole Bitcoin, which rarely anyone can now, even owning half of one, even owning a quarter of one, even owning 0.10 in my last video is critical at this point. So that's number one, scarcity. Number two, it's non-inflatable. So what that means is it does not succumb to inflation, like everything else in our society does. You know, everything falls prey to inflation, unfortunately. And in taming the inflation beast has really been a problem the last few years. And I just do not see a world or a scenario where that changes dramatically. I could be wrong, I could be pleasantly surprised, but in a world of scarcity, in a world of scarce minerals, in a world of disrupted trade agreements, in a world of all kinds of disruptions, inflation, I think, is here to stay for most of the world. Now, will it be tamped down in America, in the United States? Probably. It'll be tamped down, but I don't think it's ever going to be totally under control. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3 with Bitcoin. You have to ask yourself, again, you're comparing it to every other thing in the world. There's cash, which is a piece of paper, or it's basically credit from the government. There is gold, which is a rock that's pulled out of the ground. You can always mine more of it. It's also very cumbersome to sell and move around. It's pretty hard to move gold around. Bitcoin does not have this problem. It's very portable. You can keep it on a UBS drive. You can keep it on your phone. You can keep it on the internet, whatever it might be. But it's very portable. You can take it anywhere you go. And that is critical for most people in this world, because most people do not live in countries with very effective governments. In fact, most people live in countries with governments that are, at best, they kind of fumble and stumble along, and they are very clunky. Obviously, at worst, which is very common, they're very corrupt and they're very cruel. So having something like Bitcoin is critical for most of the world. It's something that the people in the United States, you have to get your mind out of. You're very used to having the dollar as the world's reserve currency, and you're used to that privileged position. You have to have a worldview in order to fully understand Bitcoin. So it's portable. And I already touched on the next one, which is number 4, which is it's international. This is critical for value. So you're going to have more and more people trying to buy. It's not just a currency of a small municipality or a city. It's a currency of and a store of value and a commodity for the world. You have to understand that. So it's international. Number 5, it's divisible. Okay, people get hung up on the concept of, well, I can't buy a Bitcoin anymore. Well, here's the good news. You don't have to buy a Bitcoin. Bitcoins are broken up into Satoshis, which are smaller fragments of a Bitcoin. So whatever your starting point is, and again, I don't give financial advice, I'm talking to myself, but wherever my starting point is, I'm going to start there. If that starting point is I got $500 laying around and I can put another $50 in a month, that's a great starting point. You're going to have skin in the game. You're going to have an ability to grow that over time. And I'm fully believing in dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. I've seen that play out very successfully now for people that have done that for the last decade, or even the last 5 years, or even the last year, frankly. Okay. It's divisible. Whatever number we're on. It's verifiable. Bitcoin is verifiable. And it's verifiable because of the code and because of the blockchain. That's another thing you have to understand. Every time you're moving cash around or whatever it might be, you have a middleman, a middle person, a middle company that's doing the verification. Well, it's very interesting. Bitcoin is the first time where there is no middleman verification needed because it's all there clearly on the blockchain. Okay, here's a big one. Bitcoin is decentralized. People love that about it. No dictator, no country, no government, no corporation can control it completely. Now, whoever owns the most of it will probably have leverage and an advantage. But if they own the most of it, they're incentivized to not see it fall apart and go down in value. But it is decentralized. And the last thing, which is very important, and again, this is getting you out of your United States mind frame and into a world global perspective, is that it cannot be confiscated. So cash can be confiscated. Houses and property can be confiscated by the government. You don't pay your property taxes. Your gold can be stolen and it's confiscated. Of course, Bitcoin is not perfect because the world is not perfect and humans are not perfect. But in general, it cannot be confiscated because if you are holding that Bitcoin on cold storage and you have your keys and all that, then basically you are completely in control of that asset. So guys, again, I don't give financial advice, but I believe as a middle-class wealth builder, dollar cost averaging a affordable amount that a person can do into Bitcoin over the next several years is probably going to do just fine for them. And that's what I'm going to do, and that's what we do in this channel, is we share what we're doing. And that's it. So thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Please do the whole like, subscribe thing, share the channel. Really love to grow and go from there. All right. Best wishes to everyone. God bless you. Bye.